Well, hello Internet of People. Let me introduce you to Prometheus 0.2. We just recently released an update. We just made it a little bit more useful. As you can read it here on GitHub.com Internet of People Prometheus Electron. If you go to the releases, you can download anything from these assets like Linux app image, or if you have a Mac, this is an application, or you can compile it yourself, more info at the end, but it's a little bit more complex yet to compile it as an Electron application. But for developers, I have good news at the end. So on the internet, no one knows you're a dog. But now we implemented some features where you can actually prove it and get some feedback, witnesses from friends that you are really a dog. So it's getting more useful than before. Obviously, this is not enough to as an end product, so that's why it's just a pre-release. But we are getting there. So let me show you on my machine in a developer environment how it looks. I started up. It's a regular npm image. Here you are. I just close the developer tools. So, first thing you might notice is that we got more responsive for the resolution. So if you don't have enough screen space, the menu is hidden. But if you have, you see everything at a glance. I already prepared two personas, as we now call it. These are more for the business people, but we as users prefer more natural words like persona. You don't want to party and organize parties with the same identity as you are using for proving stuff for your future employees as a university student. So I separated these things. But let's start with it. Let's create a claim for this student that it is called diligent at uni.edu. So I will ask someone to prove that this is really my email address. The first thing I have is when I'm creating a claim, I get some of this binary stuff. I don't see into it from this user interface, but never mind, it just represents the email address and that which profile it's owning. So I just copy this to my clipboard and I ask my trusty friend Partisaurus Rex to sign it. Obviously you can send it in an email or I don't know, a Telegram message to someone else. And here is a new menu item here, signing these claims. This is a temporary measure for now, so that's why we didn't put too much effort into it. But at least you can paste that binary stuff here, sign it, and now you get another binary stuff, which is actually a proof that Partisaurus Rex also thinks that that is your email address. So I now close this, go back to the diligent student profile, and import this proof. Yay! Of course, I can create another thing like I'm over 21. I don't even need to do anything right now. And if I view all my claims, I see that diligent student has two claims. One is the email address, which has now one signature. I can see that this profile signed it. This is not public information yet, as you saw. So this is everything peer-to-peer. We just sign it for each other. This is a web of trust use case. We will come up with official use cases later, storing proofs on the blockchain to, I don't know, university use cases have these like I need a proof that I passed on an exam or I have a diploma. I don't know, an electrical engineer. Things like those. But before we go to implement a full-fledged reputation system, the trust on who I trust with these proofs is a little bit vague, and we are more focusing on these local communities yet, and all those use cases where you can bind this trust back to some known entity like a university or a state. How we imagine is that you just request a claim, for example, here is the same messages, same screen as you saw with the email address, and you just send it to your I don't know, state, and then they will claim that you are over 21, and then you can import it, and this gets official. Of course, the identities of the state might change, and that's something we do not publish yet, how we will solve those issues, but we have these all worked out. Now, let me show you another change we did, because we simplified how you onboard to this tool. And this is the place where I will show you, as a developer, how it's easier for you to work on these projects, to send us pull requests. So I close this Electron application. I don't even need this. Actually, this Electron application now has web-based front end and Rust-based backend all in one. It runs the Prometheus daemon plus the UI. It's similar to the Bitcoin Qt application, which is basically a Bitcoin wallet, which hosts both the Bitcoin daemon and the user interface towards it. But similar to Bitcoin, we have separate versions, so separate components for all your use cases. And this builds on a Rust backend. So if I just run this in Mercury Rust Prometheus, which you can find in Internet of People, Mercury Rust Prometheus, here. This is a Rust-based backend for your wallet, and you can use it from the graphical user interface. We have this Prometheus UI separately. Every startup that does that, don't worry. And then I can connect to this thing with a browser. This is a quite similar experience to the Electron app, but now the Electron app is not running, right? So I run the web front end and the Rust backend separately, and they communicated using the administration interface, which is basically the Bitcoin RPC that you would never put on the internet. So this is a local host 3000 asked this default date, so what is the set active profile that is selected. These are similar concepts to Bitcoin. And on top of this graphical user interface, we also have a command line interface where I could, for example, list my profiles. This is in the same Mercury Rust project. It's written in Rust as well, and you can list your profiles and set which one is the active one. So now the command line interface and this browser front end uses the same backend running here. And you saw it asked all the dids and the default did, and then wrote the command line response. So let me delete now everything from this machine, which you should also do, because in this version we broke actually backward compatibility of the Vault. On Macintosh you need to delete all four of these folders. On Linux I have it all in under .config Prometheus in my home folder. So I stop, delete all local state of the wallet, which will also delete my seed, so my secret, basically, all that gives all the private keys. So this is dangerous stuff to do. Don't do it. only if you understand the consequences. So I restart the backend, and now I have no vault. You see, it's also right. No profile vault found. So restore it first. Now we don't restore it, we create a new one, and the web front end is perfect for that. So I just reload the web front end. It notices that, hey, there's no vault, so I create a new one. So we get the same 24 words, which is a BIP39 mnemonic. I copy it, and I show you a trick. I can store these seeds in a LibreOffice card or, I don't know, Excel sheet, which is password protected. I just paste all the words here. I go to, where was it? Data. I need to select this thing, right? Yeah. Data, text to columns. These are separated by space. So now I get all these words into their own cells, and I can save this file, password protected. Save with a password. Yeah, I would like to choose a really complex password, like, I don't know, password 123, because without the password it's really difficult to decrypt this file. And now, getting back to the UI, I roll these words down by pencil. You see, only 3 words are asked for the verification, which is difficult to solve if you haven't written the words down, but it's much simpler than writing all the 24 words back. If you want to still do that, you can still go to the old mode. It's just a good idea that we found from the Arc desktop wallet. So 4th word is else, and I don't need to even type. There are 9 words that we show, and you can just choose. The 7th word was lobster. 24th word is zoo. Yay! So, since this is a fresh vault, I get some hints, and the first person is created, which is different from what you saw previously. Okay. No claims yet. I can create my first claim for this active persona. Just like before. So have fun with it, play around. We are working on integrating Mercury into this Prometheus client, so this backend will actually talk to Mercury home nodes in the next version, and you will have some extra treats in the next release. But until then, we wanted to show you some useful features of Prometheus client. And as always, you can find us on GitHub, on Telegram, and Discord. Feel free to follow us, send us pull requests, or anything. See you later in the next version. Goodbye.